Hey, what's up? So I got a new thing, and I'm gonna say stuff about it. Wow, you could definitely tell I took like 4 seconds to think about what I was gonna say. That was terribly dry. Technically, I've never really done like a review. I've only ever done unboxings, DIY kits, or like repaint stuff. So this is a whole new territory. We're gonna see how totally professional I end up making this, right? I know you have zero faith in me on this. What up, I'm Miles and welcome back. And yes, in the intro you heard correctly, this video is not an unboxing, it is actually a review. In this video we are going to be checking out, going into detail, and reviewing the Spider Studios Miles Morales S2 Spider-Man mask with movable electronic lenses. Wow, that was a mouthful, and it took me like 7 tries to figure it out. I've literally been jumping back and forth trying to memorize the entire title. Anyway, I have a lot of Spider-Man masks. If you've seen any of these videos, you will know that I do have a decent amount of Spider-Man suits and masks, but I've never had one that actually moves. And the fact that it moves is really cool. That's a really weird sentence out of context, but for Spider-Man fans, you totally get what I'm saying. Like, when it moves, it's cool.
And yo, what?
Anyway, just for a bit of context, if you saw my last video, you will know that the mask that we're about to review, we unboxed as a surprise gift from my boy L-Boy Carson. Lucas recently had his 100,000 subscriber giveaway. He had a raffle, and I donated a decent amount of prizes to his raffle to give away to a lot of his winners. 5 of them being artwork prints done by yours truly, and the last one being the big ticket item, the Spider-Man suit that is going out to one lucky winner. Anyway, you saw the whole story in that last video, and he sent me a moving lens Spider-Man mask from Into the Spider-Verse, and that was really cool. If you saw that last video, you know how unprofessional my reaction was and how just flabbergasted I was, and I told y'all I needed a little bit of time to actually make a real review video. This is that video, so I'm going to try my best to make this an in-depth, proper, professional review, but like my style of that, because we all know I can't really be that professional. Anyway, without further ado, let's take it over to the workbench and actually look into this mask and see everything that it offers and go into depth on it. So, as I mentioned before in the intro, this comes from a company called Spider Studios. When I looked it up, it brought me to a website called Spider Studios. The logo packaging on this says it's from a differently named company. However, it's the exact same logo packaging that's on this website. So I'm gonna go off the assumption that it's the same thing. If it's not, I'll correct myself in the future, or somebody please correct me in the comments down below. But before you open, this is the actual box that you get. You see the product itself, Miles Morales' mask from across the Spider-Verse. Some cool insignias on the side, same thing on the back. All that stuff, right? Oh where's the ring? That's not super great. Okay, so when you open the packaging, you are greeted with 4 different items. Obviously, you have the completely assembled mask itself. It does not come apart. It is one piece. The mask, the fabric, the shell, the lenses, all of that is one piece. You also have your micro USB charging port for both the mask and the ring. You have the control ring itself that has 5 different buttons, all of which that do something different for the mask. And of course, you have your instructions, that of which we're not going to read because we don't need those. Going into detail and depth on the actual mask itself, first and foremost, what I have to say is this thing is gorgeous. You can look at it and just immediately tell that that is true, that this thing is absolutely stunning. It looks amazing. This looks like if they took the Into the Spider-Verse design and turned it into a live action setting, but still kept the concept animated. That made no sense, but you understand what I mean. The animated eyes, the animated shape, but in a live action sense. I can totally see this actually working in a concept like that. The lenses themselves, you can tell, have multiple layers on them. The actual outer lens itself is fairly thick. It looks to be about 1/8 of an inch thick off of the actual mask. You can see all of the inner lenses on the inside that move and like morph to have the eye shapes based on the control that you click. Of course, you also have the white mesh on the inside, that of which is the same on all of our other masks. That's how we see through, but you can't see in. And this one also goes the route of having a reflective bubble shell on the outside, similar to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask. Not every mask has the reflective bubble, but some of them do, and they look really cool. And they offer a really cool, interesting reflective look, especially when you mess around with like light and stuff. You can see how differently it affects the lenses. The lenses lenses are also painted at a very high gloss finish as opposed to a normal matte finish that I personally do on my shells. And of course, it looks stunning. The fabric itself doesn't feel like it is 4-way stretched Lycra like my other Spider-Man masks. It actually feels a little bit more akin to an Under Armour shirt or balaclava. Something a little bit thinner, more breathable, has some flexibility, and if you zoom real in, you can kind of see a bit of those fabric fibers in there. The fabric also has this super neat, interesting texture over the entire thing. Every single one of these shiny little divots that goes along with the Into the Spider-Verse mask design is a actual texture. It is a 3D texture that I can touch and feel. Now, I don't entirely know what the material is used on that. If it's printed, if it was hand done on, if it was sewn on, whatever it may be. I don't know the material it is, but it's definitely a little bit thicker than the fabric and has a bit of a stick to it. The closest thing that it resembles is like fabric puff paint that some people actually put on their Spider-Man suits. So that's what my guess would be as to what it actually is. However, all of the shapes look very uniform and look a little bit too perfect and accurate for me to think that somebody hand puff painted on the entire thing. I could be wrong, but I'm more along the lines of saying that it was a printed texture on top of the fabric versus somebody hand painting it on. Nothing against anybody who actually like hand paints their puff painting on. I plan to make a video on that sometime in the future because I think it's really fun, but I know how tedious and how difficult it is, especially on like an asymmetrical organic surface like this. Geez, now I'm just like looking at all of the pattern to see if maybe it was hand done on. I don't know. If anyone knows in the comments, let me know, but that would be cool to figure out how this texture was actually applied. The full mask operates just like a Spider-Man face shell does on any of my cosplays. You can see the actual hard plastic shell on the inside that ends right about here. It's in the same kind of shape and form of every other Spider-Man face shell I own. However, what differs this one from the ones I own is the fabric mask is actually physically attached onto the shell. You can see right here that it's physically attached on. I cannot take this mask off. Normally, how I do my Spider-Man cosplay mask is something like this, where the fabric itself is separate from the face shell and can actually slide off, separate from the lenses and the shell. So I can interchange masks if I need to, or I can swap them out, because you can tell this mask is a little old, might need a replacement soon. This one, however, is permanently attached on, which would not personally be my preference for a cosplay. However, for this specific mask, I think it's totally fine because there's no reason you would need to actually swap out the fabric. If you're buying a product like this, you kind of want to have it all in one. You don't want to have it in a million different pieces, you know? And it probably helps with like the form-fitting uniform shape so that you don't have the texture like spewing all over the place. On the back side, the mask has a zipper that goes all the way up to the top so that you can actually get your face in there. And here's how we're looking on the inside. You can see it is a completely flush and smooth plastic inner shell. On the inside here of the lenses, you're not actually touching the mesh. There's another piece of plastic. So from my guess, I would say that this inner mesh here was sandwiched between two pieces of plastic and then sandwiched between the lenses that actually move. The lenses that actually move are on the inside here so that they're completely protected from any outside like disturbances. You're given a vent down here by the mouth area so that you can actually breathe and that you don't fog up, you don't perspirate, and you can actually see all the way through. So around here on the mouth, you can see that it continues all the way through the fabric right over here. On top here, we have our charging port and of course our on button that turns everything on. Now this piece that slides off is not actually for batteries, as the mask is powered up and has its own kind of battery device inside and you just charge that. I believe this space is actually for storing the ring or the wire if you want to keep everything safe in one place. Okay, maybe I'm wrong because that shit don't fit at all. Oh wait, does it fit? Am I just dumb? Hold on, maybe it's for the wire. Uh-oh, you weren't supposed to see that yet. All right, hold on. I tried to be professional, but what is that thing for? Hold on, I feel like I should know this. Let me figure this out. Let me cook. Oh wait, I feel like it's for the ring, bro. Maybe not. All right, now here's the part that all y'all are probably waiting for, how it actually works and everything that it offers. The mask itself can be worn like this without any of the lights or the functions. You can wear it simply like this, and you already have something that looks pretty cool. The control ring itself has 5 different function controls that all do a different thing. The middle button here controls the lights. It turns them on for blue, and then back off. The middle button can be used to cue the lights between different functions if you want. The top button will close and open both lenses at the same time. The bottom button does its own kind of like programmed queued up function that does its own little thing. And you can do all of the functions again when you have the lights on. However, when you turn the lights on, the resting state is blue, but whenever the lenses go in, they turn red. And it goes lens specific, so if you just want to do the right lens, it'll keep one red and one blue. If you just want to do the left lens, it'll do the left one. Any lens that's open is blue, any lens that's closed is red. And of course, when you do the programmed control in, it does its own thing and the lights follow the lenses. Now me personally, I prefer it a little bit more with the lights off, mostly because when I'm wearing it, When those lights are on, you cannot see a damn thing through this mask. Especially when it's in the midst of doing this and changing, that light flashing in the corner of your eye makes it very difficult to see. So I want to do all the functions from the inside of the mask too, just because I want to see what it looks like. So lights on, do our quick little function, do both. It's actually kind of cool when you watch the lenses move. So in terms of everything that the mask offers in terms of like lights and functions, that's pretty much it. You of course have your two different lenses that can move individually from each other, or they can move together. You have your blue lights, you have your red lights, and of course you have your programmed function in. Now, any Spider-Man cosplayer who's using something like this, that should be more than enough for what you need. If you want to have a normal look, if you want to have it with the lights off, if you want to have the lights on and red look more intimidating, if you want to have the lights off but still look more intimidating, or my favorite one, if you want to wink at somebody. That's by far my favorite function, is doing a quick little wink at someone. I think that's pretty cool. So that's the mask in detail and all of the functions that it offers, but now let's try it on, see how it feels, see how it looks, and see what the actual final verdict is. Whoa, oops. My bad. So in terms of the fit of like an overall fit, how it fits like on my head, on my neck, it's pretty good. It fits decently well, and there's no problems like getting it over my head or trying to get my neck in. The only issue that I have with the fit of it is it pushes a little bit too far on my face. I can feel it pushing on both my nose and my cheeks, which makes it slightly uncomfortable. However, that's something I could probably solve by installing some foam on the inside to make it not push so far into my skin. In terms of visibility, it's a little bit foggier than any of my other masks, and that may be due to a couple different reasons. The first obviously being the dual pane glass that's on the inside. Any other mask that I own, I only ever have the mesh, so when I'm looking through it, I can see perfectly fine. The only other mask that I have a problem with is my Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask, which of course ironically has the same issue. It has the glass bubble. That tends to cause the most problems with visibility and looking through. You can't really see the best. It kind of distorts, it kind of warps, and it fogs up a lot sooner. However, I'm not noticing a lot of fog in this mask, and I would immediately be noticing it in my other Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask. So I'll give it points for not having much fog and having proper ventilation. I can also talk and hear myself pretty well, and I'm hoping that the mic can also pick me up as well. I don't feel like I have to scream or project my voice out of the mask. I feel like you can hear me perfectly fine in my normal speaking voice. Now that might not seem like it's a huge deal, but for me it's a really big deal, because when I'm cosplaying, if I have to communicate with Michael, my photographer, or if I'm at a convention and I gotta communicate with somebody, a lot of times it's loud and you can't see my mouth, so you can't read my lips, so you have to be able to hear somebody under a mask like this. And the last thing you want is to see Anyway, so the feel is a little tight on the nose, but again, it's a solvable problem. Visibility, not super great, but again, it's kind of something that you have to trade off when you're wearing something like this. When you have that dual pane, you can't have it both ways. You can't have all of these layers on the inside of the lenses and expect to see perfectly clear. It's just not going to happen realistically. However, in terms of the lights, it makes it infinitely harder to see, because now there's a blaring LED in my face and I can barely see anything around me. The LEDs are here and here, and that's right in the peripheral visions, so it instantly cuts off any way you can see on the outside. But it looks really cool. With the lights off and the lenses down, it cuts off a little bit more vision, but I can still see fairly well, all things considered. So let's go through all the functions again while I'm wearing it. Okay, so that's that, and that's that Miles Morales moving mask. I will immediately say something as soon as I put my normal mask back on. I immediately noticed the difference in comfort, visibility, and breathability. You can't really see through it. You have two different lenses on the inside that are morphing your vision, and you have the LEDs that are blasting right into the side of your eye. It makes it very difficult to see. The mask itself is also a little bit thicker to house all of the electronics and the lenses, making it a little bit less breathable than you would like in a normal Spider-Man mask. That's probably why I'm assuming the fabric was made so thin, so they're still giving you a little bit to breathe, even though the mask is so heavy. Now, even though all of those things are things that I would consider to be cons of the mask and things that kind of bring the level of it down, all of them have their reasoning. So while they are still cons of the mask, they all have objective reasoning to make the mask what it is. It has to be thicker to house the electronics, right? You want LEDs in a mask, you're not going to be able to see super well out of it without it blasting in your eye. And if you want dual pane glass on the mask, it's going to distort the vision a little bit. Those are all trade-offs, and they're things that you have to consider if you want to wear a mask like this in cosplay. So that's why I think my final verdict on a mask like this is it's a really cool prop, it's a really cool thing to have, it's a really cool thing to own, to make skits with, to make a cool video with, even make a little bit of content with. But in terms of cosplay, on a photo shoot, at a convention, I don't see it being super useful for those situations. Again, it's a little uncomfortable, you can't really see, and there's not a lot of ventilation or breathability compared to a mask like this. Now, that's a little bit biased because there's a reason this is my favorite mask and the one I wear all the time, because it is the best at all of those things. I can see the best, breathe the best, talk the best, hear the best, all of those things. If I was comparing it to something a little bit more fair, like my Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask, it's kind of on the same line. My Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask, while it looks pretty cool, is also uncomfortable. It has the magnets that poke into my face because it was designed poorly. It has that dual pane glass on the inside that distorts my vision and fogs because you want to have those bug eyes for Amazing Spider-Man 2. And there's a reason why I plan to get a new Amazing Spider-Man 2 shell in the future to kind of try to eliminate those problems and optimize them a little bit better. But in terms of this mask, because of the nature that it houses electronics, that it houses these functions, and it has all these things, you can't really change that. You're kind of stuck with those things, and that's the trade-off. However, on the other side of the trade-off, on the plus side, it looks absolutely stunning. This is the coolest looking mask I've ever had. It's really, really cool to play with the lenses. I cannot stress to you enough. It's super cool to play with the lenses, especially when you're wearing it and you can actually like activate the lights, activate the different lenses, and activate the different functions. It's really cool. It definitely has a cool factor and an aesthetic factor and a really cool looking factor that bring it up a little bit higher. And that's why I said it's not useless. It's really, really cool for short form content. It's really, really cool for a prop, a decoration, if you want to hang it up, if you want to have it on a mantle. I plan to one day have a bunch of my masks sitting up, like my Ghostface mask, my Jason mask that I repainted, my Kylo Ren mask that I built. This will probably go alongside it as a really cool replica mask that I actually have the ability to control and function. That's where I think it shines. It's something that looks really, really cool, but unfortunately is not the most practical thing in the world for a cosplay. And listen, I might be saying this from a biased viewpoint because when I cosplay, I like to go all out. I like to climb up the buildings. I like to hang off of parking garages. I like to do the stunts. I like to jump off rails. I like to do all of that stuff, and I need to be able to see a little bit, and I need to be able to breathe and have some comfort. I also need to keep my mask on all of the time whenever I'm in public, whenever I'm at a convention, so I need something that's comfortable. That's why this wouldn't really be an option for me at a convention or a photo shoot. However, for those of you who don't have those restrictions, for those of you who can take the mask off whenever they want, or just throw it on for a picture, or just throw it on for a video, this is perfect for you. It looks really cool and it has all those functions. The only thing I would mention is that you need to make sure your suit has the same texture fabric so that you're not like mismatched, and your mask has a texture when your suit doesn't. Anyway, that's kind of my final statement and verdict on it. It is a really cool thing and I'm absolutely psyched to have it, and I can't get over how cool it is. It's awesome. If you want to check this mask out for yourself, I'll leave a link down below to where I think you can find it. But even though I'm over the moon and kind of geeking out over it, I try my best to be honest and try my best to be fair with this review to give you guys the best possible breakdown is the word I'm looking for. Breakdown review video on this mask. If you want to grab it yourself, go for it. I don't discourage anybody from doing so. However, if you're looking for more of a like professional cosplay route, if you're going into something that needs a little bit more functionality versus like cool aesthetics, I have a list of other videos in my cosplay tips list that go over everything: how to get a mask, face shell, what it is, breaking it down, suits, tips, tricks, all that stuff. Feel free to check all that out. Huge thank you to my boy L-Boy Carson again for sending me out this mask. This is absolutely sick, and I can't believe I actually own something like this. It's really, really cool, and y'all should definitely check out his page. Head over there, give him some love as well. Now, depending on when this video actually gets uploaded, there might still be time to enter in my holiday giveaway that is going until December 24th, I believe, where I'm giving away 5 whole Spider-Man suits to you guys. Obviously, if this video is past December 4th or you're watching this video past Christmas, the giveaway is not valid anymore, and it's just like not open. But if this does happen to get uploaded before then, go into that giveaway, get yourself a chance to win a Spider-Man suit. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Peace and love, do good things, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, Spider-Man!